doing great things. Dap my partner up, I'm glad he on the same thing. Bills is going up, but I know how to maintain. Had to cut them off, but I ain't got to say names. Hey, plans of being the boss and I ain't gang bang. Some of my brothers did, but we be on the same thing. Solid sense of kid, respect is just the main thing. If I said it, I'm gon' do it. I ain't changed. Hey, I'm from the west side.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the episode of the I Am Courtney Chandler podcast. Of course, when we discover ourselves, we embrace it, and we unlock the potential within. This is a new season of the show. Thank you so much for listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and you watching probably on YouTube. This is season 6. Y'all, we've been doing this for 6 seasons now of the I Am Courtney Chandler podcast. And this season is going to be a little bit different. We're going to have guests the whole season long. So I'm going to take a break from doing different topics, and I'll bring people on to talk about some of their stories and some of the things that they're doing. And we're going to have a lot of fun this season. And for this, make sure you check it out. Again, Apple Podcasts. You can listen to Apple Podcasts on Spotify, and then you can watch it on YouTube. But hey, without further ado, I'm not going to hold up the process any longer. I'm going to go ahead and introduce our guest. Well, of course, you know, we do a video. So here's a video of who our guest is going to be for episode 1, season 6 of the I Am Courtney Chandler podcast. Idenis Braxton Holley, a master media strategist, wields his creative expertise to craft captivating tales through video, photography, and music. With a decade of mastering, his lens has immortalized moments like the World Games 2022 and the U.S. Women's Open at Shoals Creek. Beyond visuals, Holley's creative impact spans production, with a portfolio of compelling short films and podcasts. As a DJ, he ignites dance floors while his lens captures the essence of conferences, weddings, events, and portraits. A University of South Alabama graduate with a degree in digital cinema and television, Holley's media strategy unites technical prowess and artistic brilliance, reshaping storytelling through the fusion of sight and sound. The I Am Courtney Chandler podcast welcomes Idenis Braxton Holley.
2 reasons that you're not growing on social media. 1, you're not informing people about the things that are going on in your business and how they can be a part of it or even care. And number 2, you're not educating them about your business and the things that elevate you and could elevate them to the next level. Think about those 2 things when you're thinking about expanding your social media or just your business in general.
All right, and without further ado, everybody, welcome to the I Am Courtney Chandler podcast. It's the Idenis Braxton Holley. I call him Braxton. Man, what's going on, brother? What's up, man?
What's up, bro? How you doing? It's always a pleasure to just like watch an intro of yourself because we don't typically make intros about ourselves. So to have that light shed on us by someone else is always a beautiful thing, man. I appreciate that.
Oh man, yeah, you know we do it big here. You know we do big, so we had to show you some love. And man, you doing big things out here, brother. I mean, listen, we gonna get into it because I mean, you got World Games, you doing a lot of other stuff. But let's talk about let's talk about our history because we go back a long
time, man. long time.
I don't know. We actually are family.
Yeah.
So yeah, we go back.
Grew up together, man.
Literally grew up together from as we started going to school together. What, in middle school, River Chase Middle School?
Hey man, actually we go New Hope, bro.
Yeah, bro. Oh my god, I forgot all about New Hope.
What's that? 5th grade?
5th grade. Yeah. Man, we go back. We go way back.
I don't even remember how old I was in 5th grade.
Man,
don't worry about it.
I can't remember what. I know I was doing all right in 5th grade, but I can't remember I can't remember my teacher name in 5th grade. That just tell you how long ago that is.
I do not remember either.
Yes, but yeah, we go back way long time. But yeah, we grown up in the as we say, the trenches together, and we went to school, and we went to college different paths. We both went south. I went to Troy. You went to South Alabama. So we both ended up going south. And you ended up doing the digital cinema side. I did, yeah, and I ended up going on the broadcast side. Both of them somewhat have similarities in a lot of ways. Yeah. But before we kind of get into what you're doing right now, man, let's tell us first off the why. Why did you choose, that path to go into?
To be honest, I think I really just fell into it, and that's really the way I think God really wanted my path to go, to be honest. There were other things I wanted to do. I actually wanted to go to Auburn and major in architecture. I knew that Florida State had like a photography program, but I had an opportunity to go to college and not be worried about student debt. So I chose to take that path. And
right,
man, just through college, I was just led, and I found I don't even know if I pursued the direction of it, but I subconsciously throughout college, after I graduated, noticed that I had this person's camera, and then I had this person's camera, and then I had this person's camera, and I had 2 or 3 of these cameras, taking pictures and doing videos around campus and stuff before I even changed my major to digital cinema and television. So it's just the way that God had me to go. I had no hands on.
Yeah. I mean, that's usually how it happens. We have our plans, and God put something totally different in our view, and that ends up being our direction. Man, I forgot to mention something. Y'all see Braxton do all this other stuff, but he ain't gonna brag about this. Braxton is an amazing golfer. I mean, probably in my opinion, probably the third greatest golfer I've ever seen in my life, besides Tiger Woods and Phil Mickelson. So
that's fair. I'll take that.
So y'all don't want to see him on the golf course. I know I don't. So I forgot to throw that in there. But yeah, he is an incredible golfer. Man. He was golfing before everybody else said it was a thing.
Yeah, golf has become cool nowadays.
Yeah, but you was doing golfing before it was a cool thing. You was winning tournaments and kicking people butt. Like it was.
Hey, man, I appreciate it.
Yeah. Yes. Let's get back into kind of what you do. So man, you're a DJ, you're a photographer, you're a content creator, you got your podcast, ideas, inspire information. You got all these things happening. Man, how do you manage to have so many different platforms, to have so many different things? How do you manage all the things you do?
That's a great question, and I wouldn't know how I did it either unless I go and look at my desk. Sometimes it's notes upon notes everywhere and different tasks, and it's a bunch of things that happen, but knowing that scheduling and preparation and just saying, hey, these things have to be done, and putting forth the effort, determination, and discipline to keep doing them is really important. And I'm even right now, just like you started season 6, I'm about to go into a new season of Ideas Inspire. I've incorporated a new twist that I'm going to be adding coming soon. So I'm excited about that. And just saying, hey, I'm going to do this thing because I can only be defeated if I defeat myself by saying no, by being lazy and not doing the things necessary for like you said, all things to get done. So discipline, man. I'm a military child, so discipline is a very important thing. And I probably didn't have it as much when I was younger, but I've grown into it.
Fair. I think when we all get older, we kind of find ourselves, all right, you're either going to do it or you're not going to do it. When we were younger, we had that option where we can do it, we can get away with it. But like you said, that discipline to know, hey, I got to do this and I got to have this done at a certain time. And, can do. A lot of people still don't do, when they become adults. But kudos to you, because you do it very well. You do it very well. So what that leads to my next part. What's the most challenging part in what all you do? Because you wear many hats. So what's challenging about wearing so many different hats? in just the field that you cover?
Patience. Patience is difficult, man. Um, Working with a lot of different people, you have to work with their schedules. You got to work with their emotions. You got to work with what they want, versus what you think works best for them.
Yeah.
And maybe things work out sometimes. Maybe some stuff doesn't work out sometimes. So just being patient and always being prepared, to say, okay, if this goes left, these are the next steps. These are what's going to be implemented, and not you know getting in your feelings and emotions because something isn't the way that you planned it or scheduled it. Nothing goes as planned. You can only just prepare as best as you can. So whenever whatever happens, you're ready to go. So yeah, I try to always stay ready. There's something always on the plate. If this doesn't happen, well, I'm working on this. So something's always in process of continuing to be done. I can't have idle hands.
Yeah. Yeah. How often are you actually at home? I know you travel a lot. How often are you actually at home? Here here in Pelham, I'm in Helena,
Yeah.
in the Birmingham metro area.
Um, I'm at home a decent a bit, but not when I'm gone. I'm gone. Early in the year, there are a lot of conferences. There are a lot of things people are doing to prepare for the year. So I'm at those places. As the year goes on, I'm at home a little bit more, but then I might be gone for a day or two versus earlier in the year, I might be gone for a week. So I'm at home. If we put a percentage on it, I feel like I'm probably at home 70% of the time. But then when
Mhm.
content goes out, when I'm out, you'd never know where I am because you so many places so much, and you can create so many things that it's like, hey, are you here, are you not here? And I have clients ask me sometime before they even ask what they're asking, are you in town, or are you going to be in town? I'm just like, yeah, I'll be here. So yeah.
It's so every time you want people think you're not here, it's like I'm actually here.
Yeah, I'm right here.
You'll know when I'm not here.
Yeah, just call me. I'm out of town. But
Right,
yeah,
right. And that this brings me to the next part, man. When you're doing all this, or let me go to this question first,
yeah,
because you do a lot, and a lot of people want to do what you do as far as photography, as far as DJing, as far as content creating, and they start on it, but
mm.
they get to a point and they drop the ball. It's I can't do it, and they fail. This your opinion. Why do you think that we see people who start those things like what you're doing, and they get a good idea, but they fail, maybe the first maybe episode or first two episodes in, or the first try in into the process?
They lack plans and structure, bro. They lack plans and structure. Systems, plans, structure. That stuff is so important. It seems like this is just business stuff, or this is
Mhm.
just this is what corporate people do. But those things really allow you, and really they burn out because they don't have these things. You having to keep
Right,
creating new ideas and reaching out to people. Like for the podcast, I'm sure you prepare your whoever your guest is. All right, so now your guest is prepared week or two in advance. They know what time. So it's like you have a plan and a structure. This is how you do it. You're gonna do the intro. You're gonna intro it. You have a plan and structure. So even if you get tired, this is the rubric, follow the rubric. If I'm
right,
tired, follow the rubric. And they don't have that. It's like, hey, I want to do something. They have this fad of seeing everything happening on social media and say, hey, I want to do this. I want to hop on this trend. But now the trend's gone. Who are you? What are you doing? What makes you you? What is your content? You know, what what is? And there is nothing because you haven't sat down and said, hey, this is what I want to do for the next 3 months. This is what I want to focus on, and this is what I do week by week. This is what I'm going to do for the next 9 months, 18 months. And so once you sit down, and you gotta take that time out and say, hey, I'm serious about this thing. I'm going to sit down, I'm going to build it out, and I'm going to follow it every Wednesday from 7 p.m. to 12 p.m. or 12 a.m. I'm gonna make this content so that I don't have to worry about it for the next 2 weeks. That is scheduled. It's rinse and repeat. So it's just building out that plan, that structure, being consistent in it, and just knowing that this is the system that I operate in. It's the system that's going to make or break. But I did do it. For me personally, there's no way I can go back and say I regret or I wish I would have, when all I have to do is do.
I like that.
Yeah, man.
I like that. And the question when you said something about social media, because we see people do great things and do these things on social media. Is that sometime when people see these people do things on social media, do they get these ideas, but then they don't realize all the work that goes behind it? Because
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you get the thing, or you get the question like, man, I saw you on social media and I want to do that, but then they get to do the work and then it's like, nah, it ain't for me.
Yeah, it looks cool. You put up a 15 to 30-second video and you're like, oh, that shouldn't take that long, or man, I could do that, and you start breaking it down and see what details and what work has to go in. And I think since media is so widespread now, so many people take it for granted. It's like you're on social media swiping and scrolling, but you don't know how much time it takes. So now for people that you start to see more often, and then you like their content and you follow them, that's really paying homage to how much work they've actually put in, because it's a lot of work to put in just to even deserve a follow. Like, are you bringing some value, education, entertainment? Like just a video you played, like, are you bringing something to my life for me to want to see this on a daily basis or whenever I'm on this platform? And so just like the last video you played, man, I think it's like a 20 to 30-second video. Probably spent 3 hours on it.
Wow.
Just like gathering footage, moving things around in the edit, making sure sound works properly, making sure the actual color grade is how I want it, making sure things are moving properly. It's a lot of moving parts to just one 30-second video. And so just to be able to put that together, it takes time. It's work. You got to learn the things. You have to learn the software even to be able to do the action. Then you got to incorporate your creativity into it and say, wow, I see something, I have an idea, but I don't even know what to do in this software to do that yet. It was like, it's a lot of time, it's a lot of work, and I want people to stop taking it for granted, because when they start doing it, then they understand that, hey, let me go back to work and
go back to that 9 to 6, 9 to 5. This ain't it. And you made a good point, because even at my job in news, people see that maybe that 1 minute and 30 seconds of the story. They don't know that I had to write the story, I had to edit it, had to get the right clips, had to set it up, and that's a whole day's of work that you're only seeing for 1:30 on your TV screen, and people think it's easy, but like you said, that's 3 hours, sometimes 3 to 5 hours out the day. Like today, I did a story. I was on my off day, did a story that took 5 hours to do. That's probably only going to be 3 minutes for people to watch. So I mean, it's it's things like that I really agree with you on, where they see it and it's easy, but it's a lot of work. There's a lot of hustle that goes into it, because also you mean deadlines, and that's a whole nother story that we can go into. Yeah. Have you ever, with doing all the things that you do, has it ever came across you that, like, man, this is too much, maybe I need to maybe stop doing something, or man, I just have you ever felt like you wanted to quit?
No, not. Sometimes it can get to be a lot in small time frames. And then in those times, it's like we were saying, that's when you lean into your systems, your policies, and say, hey, this is how this works. Let me do it in this order. Cause you have to take out your feelings and emotions at that point and start working in your systems. Hey, it's 10 things right here on this list to be done. And just to think about this, let's say you take a weekend, and you're creating Friday, Saturday, Sunday. There's no time in there to edit. There's no
Yeah.
time in there to you barely have time to offload footage. So let's say you did 2 things per day for 3 days. That's 6 days. That's 6 projects that need to be done, and they all have a deadline. So now, how do I look at these processes and say, all right, this is the order. Let's look at it 2 ways. And I look at it 2 ways. I'm saying, what can I get done quickest that takes the least amount of time? And then what do I need to look at that needs to be done first? So if I can get things done quickly, and I can knock 2 or 3 things out in a day, I'm gonna knock those things out and say, all right, these are the bigger projects. Let me run through the processes that need to be done first. Let me cut the footage down. Let me finish the pre-production. Let me finish this or that. So now when I get into the deep editing process, I'm saying, all right, now we're just putting the pieces of the puzzle together. Um, and so I lean into my procedures at that point. It's like, hey, it's a lot to do. People act like people. You got to deal with that. You might send something, they might want the smallest thing changed that you didn't even see, and it's a personal thing about themselves.
Mhm.
It's like, hey, I gotta lean to my policies and procedures. These are the things that I'm doing. These are the things I'm going to do. And then let it go from there. 9 times out of 10, it always works out in your favor because you have a system.
Wow, that's good. What what's your purpose?
Mm,
When you do all this.
that's good. And I think lately it's been dawning more on me. Um, being able to help people see what they're not looking at. Like,
Mm,
I have
like
a
that.
different lens than other people have, and we all have different lenses and scopes. And if you can work deeply into your scope, stay in your lane, keep working, and showing people, educating people on the things that are going to be beneficial for them. And that deeply comes with you being the example. People could talk till they blue in the face, but if you haven't done the thing, or if they don't see the process and things happening from your scope, how can they believe you? So
Yeah.
just being able to do the things necessary now in order for my voice to be heard based on, I work with a lot of people, and I'm like, hey, I see what needs to be done on your end for you to move to the next level because I see so much potential in what you're doing. But how can you believe me if you don't see me doing any of these things? So
Right.
I think I kind of, you know, uh hopscotch your question, but
Mhm.
purposefully I feel like I'm here to help people. That's pretty vague, but help people in my line of work, like
Right.
on my scope, help people on that. So hey, look, this is how media works. This is I said this earlier. It is I'm like a creative businessman.
Mhm.
I understand the business of the things and the creative structures, and I put them together. I feel like I do decently well. So I creative businessman.
You just created a whole new word. And you probably created a whole
New genre.
new what hashtag in your genre of business. You don't even know it. Creative
Creative
business.
businessman. I
Creative
like it.
business. I like that. I like that. That's good for branding. Yes,
It is. Hey
you heard
man,
it here first.
don't put that out yet.
Oh man. Oh man. What advice do you have for someone who wants to be doing what you're doing? They want to be a DJ, they want to be a content creator, they want to be a photographer. What advice would you give to them?
One, study it.
Mhm.
Study it. There are too many greats that have done it, are doing it, and so many like talent right now is so great in so many fields because they've been studying the things that have been done. One study, and if you want to move fast, there's two things I think you got to do. One, you gotta work with other people. You gotta build a community around you, build camaraderie, start asking questions. And I mean, this part might sound cliche, but you got to get a coach.
Yeah.
You can't learn everything based on YouTube or based on a course. There are things you need to be in person with people about and hands on and see like it's insights that might come to people in the spur of the moment and stuff that they take for granted but are able to deliver to you that might be game changing. So studying, being in communities, and being coached. Those are three pillars I think are necessary in whatever field you're doing to just expand, grow, develop, and get better.
Man, study, being in the community, being coach. Hey, definitely some great takeaways that you have given us in this episode. Now, listen, before we go, I got to give you the opportunity to tell us what you got going on with your content creating your platform. Bro, what you got cooking up this year? 'Cause I know you got some great things happening. And where you see yourself in the future right now? Where you see yourself in the future?
In the future, man, the goal is to really build a media conglomerate, man. Just build a place where not only people can come develop and become better in their media field, but like building teams where it's like, hey, we have different segues or sectors throughout the country. This part of local enterprise does this in this sector. And a lot of that stems from like the brand of ideas inspire information. I often say that the mind's a terrible thing to not use because the mind can't be wasted. And just continue to use the mind. So branching off and becoming a delegator. Because that's a tough thing when you've done it a lot by yourself.
Oh yeah.
Begin to delegate and hand things off. And it's like, man, I could have just did this and been done. But I think about how much time you save in next week because you taught it this week.
Yeah.
And that just expands and grows. So growth this year is a big thing. I don't know if you knew, but like 96% of Black businesses don't have employees.
Hmm. Wow.
So like expansion and is really important. Just that's been the goal for a long time. And then I heard that statistic and I was like, wow, somebody got to do something about that.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. That's an interesting fact I did not know of, man. So wow.
Yeah,
Man, I
that's
like I
great.
said, yeah, it is. It really is. But listen, man, I appreciate you for coming on your busy schedule to come chat it up with me on this episode, the first episode of the new season. I forgot to mention the story of when it was all in your attic coming up with ideas and working.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna tell you. We were all right. Summer 2023. It was me, Braxton, Antoine, who was also on the
Yeah.
I Am Courtney Chandler podcast. I Am Devoted. Make sure y'all check out that episode. And Alexis Kimbrough, who just opened up her business on this past weekend, and we were all in Braxton's attic thinking of ideas and planning out stuff, and we're going forward. So
Man.
hey, We might have to
Community.
brand ourselves an attic crew or something like that.
That's that community structure right there.
Yeah, that community structure you said, man. And I guess you the coach because you didn't coach the students.
Hey man, I'm gonna do whatever I can to help. I've always tried to tell people, like, if you involve me in your business, especially like on the media side, if I'm gonna do whatever I have to do for you to succeed. So I always want to help people succeed, especially when they got a passion and just that burning desire inside of them to do something. Hey, if I have the ability, I'm gonna do it.
Bet. Man, how can people follow you? How can people stay connected with you?
I have tons of platforms, of course, because we do media, but you can follow me on YouTube at Braxton Holley. If you want to get to a bunch of the Instagrams, you can follow me at IB Holley. It's literally the letter IBHOLLEY, and that has the podcast, that has the business page connected to it. Facebook, Local Enterprise. There's so many platforms to be on. I'm not on TikTok. That's a whole nother story. I am and I'm not. But main things is Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Those are main platforms I'm on.
So make sure y'all follow him. Make sure y'all support him. Whatever y'all doing, you got the info right there. So definitely make sure y'all support. And listen, thank y'all so much for taking out the time of your busy day or your busy night, or whenever you're taking the time to listen and watch this on the I Am Courtney Chandler. Listen, I appreciate you. And listen, continue to follow on Instagram. I Am Courtney Chandler Podcast. And also you can continue to watch all the past episodes on YouTube, I Am Courtney Chandler Podcast, and listen on Spotify and on Apple Podcasts. Until then, continue to discover yourself, embrace it, and unlock the potential within. Hey, I'll see y'all soon. I'll be blessed out here. It's another episode of the I Am Courtney Chandler Podcast.